Today we're going to be talking about the poem by John Keats, Ode on a Grecian Urn. This is one of his ode poems. Ode to a Nightingale is another one, Ode to Autumn. And John Keats is a romantic poet from the early 19th century. He wrote this in 1819. And in this video, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you a little bit of a deeper understanding of anything you can find on the internet for this poem. And what I mean, and what I hope to accomplish with you, if you're willing to go through this whole video with me, is that you will see this poem in a completely new light and have an experience that John Keats wanted you to have. This is the whole point of art, in particularly imaginative literature, is it's to experience something. So we're going to express and think about what he wants us to experience. You could disagree or dislike or, not agree with the ideas. You could disagree with the experience itself, whatever, or you could think it's just not well constructed. All those things are separate. Our first obligation as a reader is to try to have the experience he's trying to have. And I'm going to show you some ways to do that, and to do that with all poetry, and we're going to do that with this poem. Now, I want to set this up, Ode on a Grecian Urn, by talking about a video game. So you might have, this is a game that I played a while ago, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And in playing it, it really made me think about the world we live in is so amazing and bizarre. I mean, if you've played this game, then you know that it's a beautiful game. I mean, it's a role-playing game, and you play an assassin, and there's like this whole backstory that's unimportant for this video. But you basically are playing this character during the Peloponnesian War. That's a war between Athens and Sparta, pre-Christian era. This is BC, before Christ, hundreds of years before that. And, there's this war between these two Greek city-states, and it encompasses the whole, basically Greek world and beyond. And this character in here is a part, takes place at that time, and he does adventures and assassinations and things like that. But the thing that's wonderful about it, the game, is the attention to detail. Now, there's a video, if I can find it, I will link it in my YouTube, but there's a video on YouTube of an archaeologist going through the game and like pointing out that, this isn't accurate, that's not accurate, but mostly saying this is very accurate to what we know today. This is, basically what the game did is they took a lot of the best knowledge and information from archaeologists and hired real archaeologists to help make the game real. And when you walk around the world, you can get a sense of the kind of lives that these people had. And the thing that struck me the most about this video game, and of why I think ancient Greece was the greatest civilization, is that not only is there this hustle and bustle and everybody's active and there's a kind of general vibe of happiness and trying to place joy despite the fact of all the horror that's happening in the world. It is the aesthetic life, the life of art. Everywhere you walk around this place is art. And that's how it was in these city-states. There were sculptures in their banks, what they would have been their banks. In their marketplace, everything had to have beautiful art attached to it, stories, their sculptures, the number of sculptures is just astounding, and we don't really understand it today. If you drive around, I live in America, if you drive around America, you might get lucky to find a sculpture every couple, 10, 20, 30, 50 miles, something like that. It's ridiculous. Here, you can't go 10 steps without hitting a sculpture. And the sculptures could be small sculptures, medium-sized sculptures, life-size sculptures, mega behemoth sculptures that you can climb. Like, they're intense and it's everywhere. And that's the kind of life. And one of the things you get is just this, if you really try to get it, you have to do it. It's not going to be automatic. Is you can really get a sense for the lives of the people at this time. Now, the poem we're going to be reading is called Ode on a Grecian Urn. Now, an urn is what you put ashes in. If you've ever been to a museum, that has classical art, you might have seen vases or urns like this that have paintings or little pictures all over this. Here we might have, some guy looks like he might be playing a pipe, and there's activities. It looks like some kind of festival going on here. There's, this one looks like a person is chasing another person. I think that might be Hermes is chasing a woman. Maybe it's a lover. Maybe he's trying to tell her a message, whatever. But you have that. And I want you to have that context of thinking about the people who actually did this, who actually painted this. And they were painting depictions of stories that they had heard. They're painting depictions of real things they might have seen. And, like the character in the game that this is from a game, by the way, this image. And if you're listening, go to YouTube and check out some of the images. But this is, he's painting things that he sees around him, and he's trying to idealize it and essentialize what he sees for other people. And you can go into a museum and see this to this day. You could see these images. Here's, a painter probably saw death in his life and he wanted to depict war. And here's a moment of a warrior stabbing another warrior. And I don't know if this is the Penthesilea, Achilles killing a Penthesilea. But nevertheless, the point is that this is something that is occurring that the painter saw. He was trying to essentialize, and it exists today in 2025, or I'm recording this 2024. And, I want you to think about the lives that people before us lived. I think this is one of the great injustices of the education system, is that we do not do a good job of helping build the inner imaginative lives of kids. And that means us, me, you. We didn't get training in how to do this, and this is a problem. And this is why we require video games, which, by the way, I love the video game. But the problem is we don't take the time to build our own inner citadels. And so there's a kind of potential to have a somewhat vacuous, vapid, emptier than you otherwise would have had life, inner life. And reading poetry in the right way will help with that. And not only help with that, it is the training required to do that. So what I'm going to do to help unpack and help you understand and enjoy this poem is I'm going to read it once without explaining anything. So I've given you the context of thinking about these Grecian urns. This is called an Ode on a Grecian Urn. And think about what an ode is. An ode is basically a kind of poem, a lyric poem, but in the form of an address. Ode to immortality is you're talking about immortality in some way. That's a poem by Wordsworth. Ode to a nightingale is you're doing a lyric poem. To ode to a beautiful woman is an ode to it's an address to an address to beauty. You could say ode to beauty in general. And this is Ode on a Grecian Urn. Now, again, I want you to think about the context of, I was trying to build for you, of ancient people being real human beings, that someone actually painted that image that you saw, and that you're looking at you're going to a museum and you see it, and you like looking at it behind that plate glass, and you're like, oh my gosh, somebody did this. Somebody painted this thousands of years ago. And that's the context you have to have. That's what this narrator is speaking about. So I'm going to read the poem, and I want you to just experience the sounds. So don't worry about the meaning. Try to get what you can out of it, but don't worry about it, because we're going to break it down a little bit. I'm going to define a couple words, and then we're going to read it again. Poetry is meant to be reread. You can never read a poem only once. You're wasting your time. If you're only going to read a poem once, just move on. And that's okay too. But if you want to actually experience poetry, You have to. This is not an option. You have to read it multiple times, because especially lyric poems, shorter poems like this, need to be understood in the totality of itself. Okay, let's read it. So, Ode on a Grecian Urn by John Keats. Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time, Sylvan Historian, who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme? What leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape, of deities or mortals, or of both, in Tempe or the dales of Arcady? What men or gods are these? What maidens loth? What mad pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and timbrels? What wild ecstasy? Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, ye soft pipes, play on, not to the sensual ear, but more endeared, pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal, yet do not grieve. She cannot fade, though thou hast not thy bliss, forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. Happy, happy boughs, that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu, and happy melodist, unwearied, forever piping songs forever new. More happy love, more happy, happy love, forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever painting and forever young. All breathing human passion far above, that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar, O mysterious priest, leadst thou that heifer lowing at the skies, and all her silken flanks with garlands dressed? What little town by river or seashore, or mountain built with peaceful citadel, is emptied of this folk of this pious morn? And little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell why thou art desolate can e'er return. O Attic shape, fair attitude, with brede of marble men and maidens overwrought, with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou, silent form, dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity, cold pastoral. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe, then ours a friend to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all you need to know. Now, if you're like me, the first hearing of that is perhaps a good 5% of comprehension. And that's okay. A poem like this is, when the rereading part is a constant for the rest of your life reading, if you like this poem. And I do believe this is one of the poems that merits a lifetime of rereading, because there's just always such beauty and interesting and mystery and what is exactly going on. But let's look at how to actually understand this poem and break it down a little bit. I'm not going to do like a whole analysis. That would take a long time. And you can go to troubadour.studio and I'll have a little bit more analysis in written form there. And I'll also have some key terms for you to have, so you can have it, and I'll let you know as we go those key terms. But we'll just go through it in kind of what I call converse with verse, which is just going through it, asking some basic questions and trying to understand what it means for ourselves. And remember, our goal is to understand this from a imaginative sense. We're trying to imaginatively understand or experience something that he's trying to have us experience. So he starts by saying, Thou still unravished bride of quietness. You're going to have to kind of get used to the thou part, which is the you, the canst, which means can, the these, things like that. So I'll break it down as we go through, but hopefully as you do more of this, you'll kind of, when you're reading these older poems, they sometimes slip in or use those terms. So thou still unravished bride of quietness. And I think that's interesting to think about. So stop and think about, what does it mean to be a bride of quietness? So it's not quietness. It's the married partner, not even quite married yet. So he's trying to set something up, it seems like, between the actual thing. So if you imagine again this man, John Keats, or yourself in a museum, and you're looking at this painting or this sculpture or this vase that has all these paintings on it, and there's images and there's gods and there's men chasing women and there's men killing other men and there's festivals and there's all these depictions all over the place, hundreds of them. And he's saying that, and it's very quiet, right? You're in a museum or you're in a place where there's no one else, and the vase itself is not emitting noise. It's not a record player that's singing a song. It's not a CD player. It's not a computer. It's a vase with some images on it. So it's quiet, but he's calling it not just quiet. He's calling it the bride of quietness. And then he says, thou foster child of silence and slow time. So not the child, not even, they didn't even give birth to this Grecian urn that he's talking to. Remember, he's addressing, think of him, picture him talking to this thing. And he says, you foster child of silence and slow time. So again, you're not the child of silence and slow time, but you're the foster child, the adopted child of silence and slow time. And slow time is the step-by-step, day by day for hundreds and thousands of years that led that Grecian urn to be right in front of John Keats, which is thousands of years ago. And remember what I said about, you have to picture the people behind the creation of this and around this, they existed, they were real. Sylvan Historian, who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. Sylvan Historian, Sylvan just means, pastoral, it's of the forest, the woods, but it has a kind of connotation, I think, similar to going into the realms of imagination. So if you think about the role in a children's short story of once upon a time, it's like you're going to another land. This land is once upon a time land. It's imaginative land. It's not real land. It's a land where princesses can sing and birds and squirrels will come and clean their room for them. That's not the real world. That's once upon a time in land. That's what Sylvan Historian kind of does. Except it's not Sylvan artist, it's Sylvan Historian. What Keats is doing is he's capturing something of history here, but it's still this imaginative history. It's this history of this unreal, place that doesn't exist. And that's the connotation, the emotion he's trying to invoke. Who can thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. So he's saying that this urn, this vase, can capture more sweetly the tale of the woman being chased by Hermes, the god messenger, or the tale of the soldier Achilles killing Penthesilea, the queen of the Amazons, or something like that. And he's saying that this urn from thousands of years ago is capturing something real that his rhyme is poetry today in 1819, when he writes this, is incapable of doing. What leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape, of deities or mortals or of both, in Tempe or the dales of Arcady? So Tempe or the dales of Arcady are just places in ancient Greece. And a dale is just picture a big valley with lots of grass and green trees. It's a huge valley. And he's just talking about what leaf-fringed legend is behind haunts, is the real inspiration to the painter thousands of years ago of that shape of deities or mortals. Did he see a god when he painted Zeus? Did he actually see Zeus? When he talks about what struggle to escape, he's talking about a maiden, a woman who's probably being grabbed by some man and she's trying to get away and she's struggling to escape. What pipe and timbrels, like a tambourine type thing is timbrel. So again, that's the celebration. Remember the urn, the vase that I showed you of the celebration of people walking down, somewhere. What wild ecstasy. Now here's something really, really nice that you might have even heard before. It's a famous line. Heard melodies are sweet. They're great. Kirk's, reading a poem, pretty good. Someone better is even better. Someone who's a great singer, that's even better. Singing something beautiful on stage, playing a song, going to a concert and hearing with your ears. That's sweet. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. But those unheard, those melodies unheard are sweeter. Now, what do you think that means? I would challenge you to pause the video and actually write down what you think that means. But I'll tell you a little quick view of what I think it means. Heard melodies are sweet. So when you hear a melody, it's in a song and it's and it's hitting your ears. Or if you see something and you can project that and hear it in your own head, or see the image play out in your own head, the realm of imagination is even better. That's the inner world, the inner citadel of your mind. And that's better if you can hear the music in your own head yourself. Beethoven must have heard music before he played it. These great composers must hear the music before they play it. And how sweet that is. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, ye soft pipes, play on. Ye soft pipes, play on. So that's that image of the piper that I was showing you before. Keats is telling that image to play on, keep playing. Not to the sensual ear, but more endeared, pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. So again, what are we covering as the no tone? This is the realm of the not sensual, and I mean senses, the non-senses, the other than the senses, the imagination, the inner world. This is the quiet self, quiet inner world. Fair youth, beneath the trees, thou cannot leave thy song. So now he's talking to this young person, an image on the vase of a young person beneath the trees. You cannot leave your song, nor ever can those trees be bare. So they're always going to be like that. The image has lasted thousands of years. That character is captured there and encapsulated there forever. Bold lover. Now he's talking to a lover. So, think about a vase image where there's a lover there. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss. So if you imagine a vase with an image of a man about to kiss a woman, but they're never actually going to kiss. Bold lover, never, never can you kiss, though winning near the goal yet. So you're right there, but you're there forever, for thousands of years captured. And if you think like maybe these creatures were a model, maybe there was a model or a person thousands of years ago that the painter captured, and they actually did kiss in real life. But in the image, they're forever captured as just on the verge of kissing. So they never actually get to kiss in the vase. And then he says, though winning near the goal yet, do not grieve. Why don't you grieve? Because it would be pretty torturous to be right next to a kiss and not be able to finish the kiss for all eternity. Well, what do you have? What's the positive? She cannot fade. She's eternal. She doesn't get old and wrinkled and saggy. She will live as the prime of her life, beautiful forever. She's been captured forever. Though thou hast not thy bliss, though you have not your bliss, is how to translate that, forever will you love, and she be fair. So, though you don't have the ability to sensually feel her lips on your lips, forever you will love her, and she will be fair. That's the trade-off of the imaginative, of this imaginative realm, is you have it captured forever, but you don't actually get to have that sensual part. Now, some people are saying might say that's not enough, and that's okay. We'll talk about it. Happy, happy boughs. Those are the tree limbs that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu. Again, this is continuing this idea that the trees that he's seeing in these images will never fade away. They're going to be there forever. And happy melodies. Think of the piper, someone singing a song in the vase, or depicted on the vase. Unwearied, forever piping songs, forever new. More happy love, more happy, happy love. Forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever painting and forever young. So again, he's just saying, you get to be happy forever, more happy love, warm forever in this image, forever young, captured forever young. All breathing human passion far above that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed. Now, cloyed, Cloyed, actually, this is my understanding of what is trying to be said here, is disgust or sicken someone with an excess of sweetness. I think the term we might use is almost like he's gross simp, right? Maybe that's not the right way to look at it, but that's, one way to think about it. But all breathing human passion far above. So we are breathing human passions, I think. That escapes, walks away from a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. So this is, I think, something about our reality of what we are constantly yearning for something, but we're not quite ever fulfilling it in the real world. Like we don't really get to taste the bliss that we want in our heads. There's a disconnect between what we want and what we actually taste. Now he's going to switch and start talking to either another urn or other images on this one Grecian urn. Who are these coming to sacrifice? So he's seeing an image of, people coming to sacrifice. To what green altar, O mysterious priest? So there's a priest being depicted in this image. Lead that heifer lowing at the skies, and all her silken flanks with garland dressed. So who is this priest that's, this heifer, this cow that is leading off to be slaughtered for the sacrifice? What little town by river or seashore? So now he sees a town or mountain built with peaceful citadel is emptied of this folk, this pious morn. The viewer, John Keats, is looking at this urn and trying to see what was the real inspiration for this image and what happened to it. And little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be. The town that was depicted, whatever town was the inspiration to the painter thousands of years ago, that town's gone. There's nothing. It's dirt. It's dirt upon dirt upon dirt. So they will be silent forevermore. And they're silent in the vase too. And not tell a soul, and not a soul to tell why you are desolate, can e'er return. So they're all dead and long gone. O Attic shape, Athenian Greek, fair attitude with bride. Now I think bride means something like braid is the best that I can come up with. By the way, I'm looking up these words. So you should be looking up words when you don't understand them. That's one of the things you should do in reading poetry. But okay, let's continue. Oh, Attic shape, Athenian Greek shape, fair attitude with breed of marble men and maidens overwrought. So it sounds like he's actually kind of criticizing this thing for a moment because he's saying it's overwrought. Fair attitude with breed, with like a intertwining of marble men and maidens, overdone, too much adornment, too much of this intertwining, or too many images on one vase. Maybe that's what he's saying. It's like, this is too much. With forest branches and the trodden weed, trodden tread, you, thou silent form, does tease us out of thought as doth eternity. Cold pastoral. So what's he trying to say there? That's, you silent form, you're teasing us out of thought as does eternity, cold pastoral. It's almost like he's pausing and saying, like, God, you're just a cold pastoral sitting there, and you're just not giving me all that I want. You're not giving me the bliss that I really want. When old age shall this generation waste. So he's talking about himself and his peers. This is 1819. John Keats actually died at the age of 25, very young. But all the people that he knew are all dead now. So he says, when old age this generation waste, thou shalt remain. So that vase that John Keats saw, we can see that vase, unless somebody blew it up by now. But, supposedly we could still see that vase. In midst of other woe, sadnesses than ours, a friend to man, so you, vase, are a friend to man, to whom you sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all you know on earth, and all you need to know. So that's something to think about philosophically. Do you agree that beauty it's the same thing, that they go hand in hand, truth and truth beauty, and that they go, it's an equation, 1 + 1 is 2. Beauty is truth is beauty. Do you agree with that? And what is, I want you to think a little bit more about what you think he might mean by beauty is truth. What do we think about beauty? I mean, the vase is beautiful, the poem is beautiful. And what is he saying about our necessity? Maybe we have a necessity for this, that this is something he deeply, deeply needs, and that maybe all humans need. Now, I will say, and there's a lot that I could continue to say about this, that I have often heard people say that I'm not a poetry person. I'm not a literature person. I don't really like great art. Nonsense. You're not fulfilling a vital need of your soul, and you just don't realize it. Now, maybe you're getting it in music and movies a little bit, and I think that's wonderful. I was a film major. I love movies. I have a reaction channel or a reaction shows where I'm trying to expand my understanding of music myself. So I'm trying to better myself with music. My argument is that there's something deeply hidden and important that all humans need from great literature. And that, I think, is the message, or one of the messages of Ode, an address to this Grecian urn, this art from thousands of years ago that is impacting him and making him think about these comparisons, the bride of quietness, the foster child of silence and slow time, and all these characters. He's trying to think about the connection between the inspired object, so the model the painter was using, and the final product that has lasted thousands of years. Where's the reality there? Where's the reality in that kiss? They don't get to kiss ever. So is there anything there? Is there anything important that we should have in our inner lives? Or should we just try to kiss no matter what? Just kiss everything we can. and it's all about the kiss. It's not about the inner world of the meaning behind the kiss. Okay, so I've gone on longer than I wanted to, and I'm going to now really quickly just read the poem one more time, and that's how we're going to finish this video. And hopefully you'll get a little bit more out of this poem the second time. Ode on a Grecian Urn by John Keats. Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time, Sylvan Historian, who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. What leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape, of deities or mortals or of both, in Tempe or the dales of Arcady? What men or gods are these? What maidens loth? What mad pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and trembles? What wild ecstasy? Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore ye soft pipes play on, not to the sensual ear, but, more endeared, pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal yet, do not grieve. She cannot fade, though thou hast not thy bliss. Forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. Happy, happy boughs, that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu. And happy melodist, unwearied, forever piping songs forever new. More happy love, more happy, happy love, forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever painting and forever young. All breathing human passion far above, that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar, O mysterious priest, leadst thou that heifer lowing at the skies, and all her silken flanks with garlands dressed? What little town by river or seashore, or mountain built with peaceful citadel, is emptied of this folk, this pious morn? And little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell why thou art desolate can e'er return. O Attic shape, fair attitude, what with breed of marble men and maidens overwrought, with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou silent form dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity, cold pastoral. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain, in midst of other woe than ours, a friend to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know. All right, till next time, go to troubadour.studio for a little bit more of the show notes and other things about this poem that I hope will help you understand. You could also support my page. You could become a page supporter, or you could join the Literary Canon Club, where we read through the great works of literature from Homer to Melville. So, I'll see you next time.